old story that I heard yesterday. Yeah, it goes the headlines, man. They all just go to plan. They're framed and fixed and rigged, and you know they're all just spam. So buckle down, plug right in, and cross its way under your skin. Just got out from the things they spout, and it won't make you shout. Give me that good news, because I'm tired of the same old shit. That good news, because I'm tired of the same old shit.
Hey, good morning, guys, and welcome to the grounds with Giles, Jones, Slagle, and well, it's just us three today. And then we actually got Crazy. Come on, buddy, come and sit down and join us today.
Like
Friday.
for a few minutes.
You're not
in the picture.
even on camera.
Let me come
Come
around.
on over here. It's Friday, and we all made another week. That's a beautiful thing, right? Maybe.
It
Hey
is.
there.
Hey, scared the shit out of me this morning. My blood is pumping.
Wake up.
As always, every Friday, we want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors. We'll start with Minuteman Press, Crystal Lake. They design, print, and promote you for all your printing needs. Anything to advertise or promote your business, they've got you covered. Still hiring part-time or full-time design associates.
All your printings, and we've got we've got a couple commercials to run for them. I don't know. I'm trying to find out where they're at, so I apologize. Well, we got. If I can find it, we'll break it in. So-
Professional, and that's okay.
And in the meantime, why don't you tell us about cars?
No, we're good. We're right where we need to be with that. Everybody's got a car.
Oh, wonderful.
That's
Wonderful.
right. Everybody's got one.
Just so everyone knows that my blood is pumping big time this morning because Mike decided to come up to my window as I was reading something on my phone and scared the living shit out of me.
Reached in his window and grabbed his shoulder.
It was delightful. I saw the whole thing.
For him and you, it was delightful.
There you
For
go.
me, it was like, oh shit.
Of course, we've got Uncle Pete right down there. There's the URL. You can put that right into your URL and become part of it. Sounds like we might have Miss Kelsey on. Kelsey, how are you?
Good morning. How are you doing?
Good. Kelsey is in via phone today.
It's a spinning color of desire.
Yeah, which is great. So I'm trying to.
Well, I hope you feel better. I hope that headache goes away.
Yeah, just a little stressed, you know. That happens.
Oh yeah, it
Yeah,
does.
sucks.
It does
Some
happen.
days.
Your grain, my grain, everybody's grain. Don Stevenson's. Don is in this morning all the way
Morning,
from
Don.
Texas.
Representing.
Yeah.
What do you think about this snow, guys? You loving it, hating it? Being the
It
winter
is what it
season.
is.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it, man. It's like
I
a
don't like
winter
working.
wonderland.
Chat looks like it did last time when you could only see comments. Kent.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what that means. So you can't see anybody on the screen on YouTube? I'll look it up on YouTube.
Well, that's
But
good. I don't look-
we're talking about education versus real life today. Yeah.
Look better. Damn it. You didn't invite.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know where this was going. It was just that's what it says. So yeah, I don't know. Figure that one out.
Power, but the flight knowledge is right. I mean, there's when you say education versus real life, I mean they all have their strengths and their weaknesses, right? And I think it's being able to blend the two together, right? To take what you learned in school, right, and go out to whatever path you're choosing and use that, but also pick up what you learn every day. You know, I'll say the hard knocks, if you will, right? I mean, there's so many things out there that you can learn every day that
Thanks,
you would
Don.
never learn in school. That's the thing for me is what you learn in school is vast knowledge, maybe, you know, not vast, but small amount, right? You'll get little tidbits, but then you go out in the world and actually expound upon it.
Yeah,
Right?
it's a generalized
Thank you. Generalized
It's a
knowledge.
base. It's your base.
Right.
Because you always need to retrain. Like being a plumber or HVAC technician for 30 years, you have to go educate yourself, and then you can apply that knowledge once you get back out into the field.
You gotta have a good foundation.
Yeah. And then you have to new things, new products, new ideas, new ways of doing things. are all a part of that education. You go learn in a class and then you apply it out in the field in real life.
Right. And real life is a continuing education for me, right? I mean, I think for most people too, if you look at it that way, hopefully you're learning something new every day, whether, no matter how small or how big it might be. I mean, that's, just important, right? You're paying attention to stuff and picking up all the little nuances and things from, like I learned from you, I learned from Kent, I don't know what I've learned from you yet. Other than you're just really smart.
But no,
That's just looking at Kenny at that stare over there, ready to just jump in and say.
I mean, I got nothing.
So
there's a good quote that's relevant to that. Immanuel Kant, father of deontology, said that theory without experience is blind, but experience without theory is mere intellectual play. So you have to have both. You can't have one without the other.
Long time.
I've never even heard the name.
You didn't pay attention in school then.
Yeah.
Father of the school of thought of deontology.
Yeah, I don't.
Can you look that up?
Yeah, I don't have hair, so I don't need deontology. Right. 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 I don't know. Yeah.
Very popular philosopher.
Yeah.
Moral philosopher.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
what do you guys think when it comes to like getting a job? So I think that's where Drew and I were going with the topic, was like education versus experience. So do you think you need to have more experience in order to get into a better job field, or do you think you need to have a higher education to get into a better job field?
Depends on the field and the job you're going for, really. I mean, some jobs you don't need any experience. Other jobs, like obviously doctors, lawyers, that type of stuff, you need the education to do that, right? To move forward with it. But like what we all do as entrepreneurs, we do need education, but we don't necessarily need formal schooling. Thank you. You don't need formal school. And I think most of the stuff that I've learned and the knowledges that I've gained over the years has come on my own, by learning, by doing, by watching, by listening. For me, school wasn't great because of my, I had some, I have ADHD, so I couldn't read. I have what? Really? You know what I mean? But I wasn't really gathering that information by reading. I was paying attention and by doing. I'm a watcher. I visually and physically learn. Right? For me to read and comprehend it and grab it is a little bit tougher, right? I feel education is very important, but it's not necessarily needed to survive in the world. That's the one thing that for many years people have pushed, like, oh, you've got to go to college. You go to high school, you got to go to college if you want to make something of yourself. And I feel that's completely wrong, right? Unless you're doing a specific profession. Right. And
Yeah, like for trade school, for HVAC, it's a small, but it's hands-on and education.
Right.
So,
right. But a lot of people will say that it used to be, if you don't have a college degree, you've got nothing.
right.
Right. That does not play anywhere.
For how much people put themselves in debt to go for a formal education.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
but
The money
now-
they spend for that, they could actually buy themselves a business.
But
Right,
then
or
it's
start
like you
something.
said, depending on the industry, right? Because now you have AI screening out your application if you don't have a degree in a lot of fields. It's not a human being looking and being like, oh, this person, look at, a really nice resume. Look at the cover. Oh, that's a heavy cover paper.
Yeah, that's
Printed
they
out
judge you
resume.
all they do.
Yeah.
You get the job.
Look at that. That's an eggshell. I like that. Yeah. They
That's
don't
a
do that.
30-pound paper right there.
They don't
That's
do
got
that
the
anymore.
money.
You fill in the boxes, you upload your resume, and then a program will move the most applicable resumes
Like
to the
Indeed and
department
stuff
that's
like
going to
that,
be choosing
those
from.
type of companies.
Uh,
Sorry for the plug.
So
Citizen
now,
check.
a lot of times you can be screened out for not having your degree before you even get a chance to talk to somebody face to face. And that's, obviously not every position is doing that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're using any of the online job seeker apps, they all do that. You got to have the keywords, or you have to have this or that. Yeah. Yeah.
And now they got people that, they've had them, but that professionals that help you write a intriguing resume.
Don says that for most jobs, I think more important to hire for quote unquote talent, intangibles, behaviors. You can train for skills.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why a lot of those companies, the bigger companies, are doing like the disc stuff, to know the personality of the person and how they operate,
Right.
and then find the right position for
Yeah, find out, because some people, I mean, you might think you're geared for this particular area, then you take that disc or the, I can't think of the other big test that they take, and they go, no, you belong in lingerie instead of, instead of tools, right? Because that thing does pull out idiosyncrasies or just parts of your personality that you might not really know, right, that you would excel in.
Right.
But you see that from the outside, I mean, we all look at ourselves in certain ways and know what we know. But when you go to act somebody else, like or do a test, something like that, it'll bring things to light that you're going, really, I didn't think about that. But then you look into it a little bit deeper, you're like, I guess that does make sense. I did this years ago, and it told me I should be a school teacher, so I don't think it worked.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding.
So you lied on it.
I lied.
You cheated.
Cheating off the girl next to me. Hey, that's how I
Hey.
got through school, man.
That makes an interesting point though, because like I personally, like when I've hired for a job specifically, and that's just my industry, I don't hire off of education or
And that's child trafficking, your industry?
Well, wait, are we talking Minuteman or are we talking bars?
bars.
So with bars, do you want somebody that is inexperienced that you can teach, or do you want somebody that's already been through it and
No.
has their own?
100% it's attitude. So you don't hire off of education or experience. Experience is a detriment most of the time. Especially I got 20 years working at this one establishment. I don't want that.
Like
I don't want
preconceived notion.
you are an expert at that establishment, and you are not going to be changing your ways. I would rather, and this has happened numerous times. You take a kid 20 years old, they go from bar backing and then bartending, and they're learning from scratch. They have no experience, but they've got a good attitude. That is always an easier employee to deal with. It's somebody that has the great attitude, the mindset, the personal
It
skills.
has the drive to want to learn.
Right, and then you can teach anything else, 100%. But the attitude can't be taught.
No,
You can hire
it can be
somebody.
dealt with, but it can't be taught.
Good morning. Good morning, Shana. Good morning, Shana. Says, who's Mike and why the disco? Actually, not a disco. It's a nice hall. Looks like it's decorated for the holidays. Yeah. Good to have you in
It
this.
does look at it.
So, there's a cost to education. There's always a cost to education. I think this is what Americans are really bad at conveying is whether it's real life or whether you sit in a college classroom. There's always a cost to education, and I don't believe that. I tell my kids, I'm like, you don't. And Alice hates it because education's big and with her and her family. And I've got a daughter who's got a master's. I've got a son who's got so much education through the Navy. It's ridiculous, right? But there's a cost, right? I don't believe you have to go into extraordinary debt to get the education. I think it's ridiculous to do that, right? But what in a proper education setting, in a college education, you're paying for life experience, right? Because that's where you go party, that's where you get STDs, that's where that's where you go. You learn about you learn about debt, right?
I've never experienced that.
You get in fights. This is where all these things happen. And so there's what colleges are saying. There's a price there. Well, there is, but it shouldn't be hundreds of thousands of dollars because your professors want to make hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Or anyway, there's a whole wormhole I can go down. But to me, if in all the people that I've hired and everything that I've been in, good for you that you have a college education, you have a degree. I've never asked what kind of grades you get, right? I give a shit less if you had D's, right? You got a degree. Basically, all that a college education does to me as an employer says you were able to stick to something for 4 or 5 years. All right. So you may stick here for 3, right? If I treat you right and we can make good money and have fun together. If you don't and have that degree, but I look at your background and I'm like, oh my gosh, you've worked here, you've done this, you've done this. That sometimes weighs heavier for me as an employer than you having a degree. Now, how many people do we know? Drew and Nico and I were just talking about this yesterday. Dr. Bob, Mike, right? Dr. Bob is a chiropractor, went to chiropractor school, ran a great chiropractor office in McHenry, sold it, and now he works for the utilities down in Arizona. He's no longer a doctor, right? I guess he's a doctor. Once you were a doctor, you're always a doctor.
He's just not practicing it.
But you understand, so he's got all this education, and what he's doing is working for the utility company down in Arizona.
Probably want something
And not behind the desk. I mean, he's like pulling wire. He's doing labor, right? So when he went to apply for that, they're like, holy shit, you're a chiropractor. Come on in.
Yeah, right. Your hands are good.
Just what we need. Right. I mean, so I think understanding, I get where maybe this is going, but you can go take a class at a community college anytime you want. It's $130, right? You don't have to go for a degree. If you're like, hey, there's an accounting class I want to take, go take it. There's a coding class I want. You can go take it. You can go get that education. You don't have to go, I'm going to join school and go get a degree. So to rephrase it, a degree or educate, or real life, you don't need a degree. So many people go get a degree and then they never work in the field that they got the degree for. Right. You go to a tech school, Mike, you went to tech school for HVAC. Now you own a very successful plumbing company.
But it got me there.
It got you there, right?
Basic tools to start moving along.
But you also went through schooling for the plumbing piece, right? To be a licensed plumber. So to me, I think you need education, right? You got to look at that, but define education for me.
Well, it's formal versus daily, you know what I mean? And
no, that's not.
It's just learning something. It doesn't matter where it comes from. You're educating yourself. You're gathering new information and knowledge for yourself, whether it's in the outside world or it is in a professional environment, or taking that class at this MCC or whatever. You're investing in yourself.
So Don says, hire those who already have initiative, teamwork, integrity, are hardworking, etc. Much harder to train for such things. Yeah, but Don, I can tell you this: at every college, they have a class on how to interview. People are professional interviewers now. And Don, you've done it. I've done it. We've all done it. Man, this one's going to be a ringer. Oh, I like it. And then you fire them inside of 30 days because they suck. You can't. I mean, you can't tell.
Good sales people in selling themselves. You see that all the time, right? They get in there and they gloat about everything they've got and everything they're doing or can do for you, and then you get them actually, on the floor in the big, actually out there working. You're going, what the hell, right? Like you look so good on paper, but you're a piece of shit when it comes to what you do because you really don't get it. You're just a theory person instead of an actual action person, and that's the thing that a lot of real life brings. I feel better value to you as an employer or as a person, right? Because they've been there. They've got the school of hard knocks, right? I mean, education is very important, and that's the one thing in this world nobody can take away from you, what you learn. What you do with the education and the knowledge that you've gained, whether it be through formal education and schooling or through the school of hard knocks, that's yours to keep the rest of your life. How you use it is completely up to you.
There's different ways to learn too, other than formal and hard knocks too. You can use your car and your radio as an education.
Absolutely.
You can learn tremendous stuff just driving down the road and listening to audio.
Right, that's for YouTube or audiobooks and stuff. I mean, I know Kent listens to a lot of them. And I'll rephrase hard knocks. That's the outside education, right? Real world education, right? Where you're choosing things. You choose to learn through your job. You choose to learn through YouTube or listening to other people, right? You're gathering that knowledge. It's up to you what you allow into your brain, right? And what you want to learn, right? Where when you're in formal education, this is what you have to learn. These are your classes. It doesn't matter. Not my thing. Not a lot of people's thing, right? Because they're told what to do. And a lot of times those skills don't transfer it really out into the real world where you can make a difference or make a good living, right? Because if I'm a great speller, it doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to get a job, right?
So Shana says the connections and networking are reinforced by those who regret the same choice of massive debt, but never discount the social skills honed all those years. Most sophomore girls can spot a psychopath. And that's true, right? And that's why I say, I mean, you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars, but you're getting more than just the in classroom, right? How to live with people. You all of a sudden become a roommate. Yeah,
Learn how to be
yeah.
a person. You got to do it. Hopefully,
Yeah.
bills, study.
Well, and I feel like with education though, like, so both my parents are teachers. So back in my day, like my dad used to tell me, so if you got a bachelor's degree, you started off at $40,000. If you got a master's degree, you started off at $70,000. If you got a doctoral, you were six figures. So like my parents pushed education on us because then at least we knew we got into a steady income job. We could get the house we wanted, the American dream. So they pushed education that way. Where now it's like I'm trying to apply for jobs where back in the day, if I wanted to be a store manager, I had to have a minimum bachelor's degree.
Yep.
That was the bare minimum. Now, when I go to apply for it, I'm overqualified.
Mhm.
So it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. I have 7 years and 4-year degree. Now they don't want to hire me because they know they have to start me off at a certain amount of pay, but they want to start me off minimum.
Right.
So I think like it just depends on the generation and the specialty. Like plumbing, for sure, you have to go into that school, right? So you have to have that specialty, that license. Same with lawyer, same with the specialty like paralegal. I have to have a paralegal certification. So
You
it's
get
just I
you
think
get
it depends.
you get close parking for paralegal.
I gotta go.
If it's legal.
He's like, I got to get my logo off of this show. All right, I love you, brother.
Thanks for scaring the shit out of
But yeah, I just think it just depends. Like now the generation doesn't really, I don't want to say care for it, but unless this is a specialty area, they don't care for the education because everybody's hurting for jobs, like firefighters and stuff, and same with police.
Mm-hmm.
Kent was saying before, it shows life experience and a dedication to a 4-year project. So Kent and I used to work at a bank. That was their criteria. And they had very simple criteria. I mean, you couldn't even put in a digital application without a 4-year degree, without pushing it through or lying, which is what I had to do. The woman who hired me was like, you have to lie. I'll let them know ahead of time that you've lied, so your digital application will go through. I was like, okay, because I was still in college at the time. My boss had a 4-year degree in fashion merchandising. Has nothing to do with working at the bank.
No, right.
The person in the cubicle next to me went to school for, I think it was physical water education. Taught swimming.
Waterboarding.
That's a professional waterboarder.
That's right.
Worked in the military.
but nothing in math, nothing in sciences, nothing in finance, nothing in accounting. Nobody I worked with had any background in finance.
Yeah, now if they're hiring Kelsey, they're putting must have education just to get people not to apply. They do things like that. I love them. Must have a minimum bachelor's degree and 5 years experience.
Yep.
And so what it does, you don't, but what it does is if you don't have that bachelor's degree and 5 years experience, you're not going to apply. So it gets rid of a lot of weed, right?
And also, that just it opens the door to nepotism, which is crazy left and right. But the rules apply unless it goes.
Yeah, exactly. I got a guy.
Yeah.
Who do you got to know?
Right.
Yeah. Ghostbusters.
You got to know a guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, that's life right there, is knowing people. I mean, it's not really, and that's the one thing that I'm glad you said that. That's really important. It's not necessarily what you know in the world, but you do need to have knowledge, but it's who you know.
Yeah.
Open doors, right? To have that social skill to discuss with people, to talk, to let them know who you really are. Not, hi, I'm Scott. I've got a bachelor's in, romance novels or something like that. Hey, you didn't know my side job? But you know what I'm saying? You do
the audiobooks yourself?
Yeah.
She rubbed the lotion sensually. My feet tingled.
Right.
Right. But I mean, it's our application of the knowledge, right? It's applying what we know and what we've learned.
Yeah.
Right. And being able to go out there and actually, I'm going to say, sell ourselves. Right.
Well,
for me, if I go to most people apply for a job based off of my criteria, what I did in college and stuff like that, they're going to, be like, You're just
Well,
average Joe.
I mean,
There's what sets you apart from those applicants. That's the thing. The drive, the motivation.
I mean, in the insurance industry, you need to do continuing education, right? Because of all the laws. I don't know. Do doctors and lawyers have to do continuing education?
I don't know about lawyers, but doctors,
Yes, we do. Lawyers definitely do.
They have to have so many credit hours.
Where it's like, oh, this new.
Yep, every year.
Yeah. That's my general practitioner when I was a kid. He was 82 years old, and the only reason we kept going to him was because every weekend he would go off to like California or Florida. He'd go to these conferences and learn new medical techniques.
Yeah.
And he was always learning. Up until the day he retired, he was constantly learning new medical stuff.
Yeah.
It was like awesome.
Yeah, that's good. That's cool. I mean, I've got a son-in-law who's a doctor.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've never talked to him like, oh, you got to get so many credit hours every so many years.
4 hours of continuing education every year to keep my license in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
And the big thing really for me in my industry, as far as the home inspection industry, they really haven't changed how they do the houses, right? I mean,
No, it's all the laws and codes that have been
all the
changed and
laws and codes, but really
manipulated.
what it comes down to is money.
Yeah, that's
Because
right.
Every time I go to re-up my license, it's $800.
Yeah, another $800.
And I literally, they have no new classes.
Yeah.
The only new classes they have is sexual harassment, and they're coming up with a new one.
I took that and I enjoyed learning how to sexually harass
Well,
people.
I'm already so good at it.
I've got my master's in sexual harassment.
But that's everything now. When you
Because,
you have to give people
I mean,
class,
those-
I don't
Those
have formal education, but I got years of experience.
that's I mean, and there is a fine line between sexual harassment and sexual arousement. I mean, there's a very fine line.
Can you explain that to me, please?
Yeah.
I don't think I took that class.
What you do to
It's
people.
hard to explain the difference with such a big erection.
Yeah.
God, you should know you own a store.
Yeah. I mean, Scott will just say yours is always harassment.
Well, today's world, you actually, when you as an employer, that is one of the things that we are required to do is to give you a handout, and you have to read about what is considered sexual harassment, right? These days, basically saying, "Hi, you look beautiful today," can be construed as sexual harassment.
From a creepy old man like you, yes, you are correct.
I start with
Hold
nice.
on,
She
hold on.
had to do the ankles. I'm like,
Scott is a perfect serial killer.
What makes me a creepy old man?
Everything about you.
Oh, no, I'm not specifics here. I'm an old man, and I really enjoy my life and think, what makes me creepy?
Everything about you.
That's the next subject. For next
And
week.
everything about you.
I don't think it's scary. I don't think it's creepy. I think it's intimidating. It's scary.
So what's in the coffee grounds today?
Yeah, what's in?
I like the
what's in
new pot.
booth?
That's cute. What is that from IKEA or something?
It's just a coffee pot.
We just did.
What's in there? It's time. Let's pull
Is
from.
it time?
Let me run a commercial. I couldn't find our commercials for.
I think we're pretty entrenched in this.
I couldn't find our commercials for
Steve, what would you rather?
for your wife's business.
Somebody with an education or somebody that you could mold?
Both, for sure, all day.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
coffee.
let's see here.
Kent's trying to find.
I
something
don't
here,
know.
guys, so I'll
We'll
entertain
do
you.
here.
Okay. So, run it by me again. You're thinking of having a podcast, right? But maybe you don't know how to start a podcast, or maybe you don't know what platform to be on. I know. There's a lot. But maybe you also don't know what kind of budget you'll need, right? Okay. Well, how about this? 216 Creator Studios. Ring a bell? Okay, well, here. There you can buy a pre-built show. Or, better yet, you can build your own show. Have all the creativity in the world. And the best part about that, it can be all done within your budget. So, no worries. How about this? Start here. Just go to 216creatorstudios.com. And I guarantee you, they will help you find your voice.
Thanks, Seabass. Appreciate that. And we're back. What's in the grounds? We're going to pull from the grounds right now. Beans. In the beans this week. Here comes the second half of the topics. Let's see. Scott pulls out.
I did not. That's why I have 2 kids.
Very good.
Oh, oh man.
Who's that? Cappuccino I hear barking over there?
Yeah.
Well, somebody wrote it on their Sunday Domingo de Manche letter. So it says, "Do you have any regrets?"
Do you have any regrets?
Any regrets?
Do you have any regrets? On what?
I was gonna say, let's. I mean,
I was gonna say-
that's a pretty open
I don't know.
question. I got regrets about what, how I lived, what I
I
did.
think anybody who
Or-
says no is lying.
Do you have any regrets in life, Scott?
What's that?
Do you have any regrets in life?
I don't know if I have any regrets. I mean, there's definitely things that I've done that I'm not proud of. There's
Hold on,
things
just answer the question. Just answer the question.
I
Sheldon,
have-
can you tell him what regrets means?
Yeah.
There you go.
No, I know. How about you, Kelsey? What do you regret in your life? 'Cause I think everything I've done and been through has brought me exactly where I need to be. So I don't regret it. It's formed me for who I am and what I am. You know, were there mistakes I made that I wasn't proud of? Absolutely, but I don't regret it because it's made me who I am.
Go ahead, Steve.
I feel like you defined it and then you just took it back immediately. Like I have things that I'm not proud of that I wouldn't have done if I could go back in time, but I have no regrets. And it's like, well, that's
Well, I didn't say I would go back in time. I'm saying, look, I don't have regrets because that's what formed me, right? It was my formal education, if you will. The things that I did, I don't regret it. It happened. It formed me, good, bad, or different.
It's interesting that you jump to regret as an action or something that you did, right? So I'm thinking I've got a ton of regrets. I've got a shit ton of regrets, right? I could have treated that person better before they died. I could have said goodbye before they died. I could have loved somebody harder. I could have been a better person at times. I've got a shit ton of regrets. I don't swim in them. Understand that?
Yeah.
I don't swim in them. I don't bathe in them every day, right? That's why I start the day with gratitude and being grateful for what I have. But I got a shit ton of regrets. And if I could go, somebody said, I forget who it was. Was it you? Might have been we were talking, Scott.
What is the definition of regret, Kelsey?
And somebody asked me like, hey, or maybe it was a meme. If you woke up in 1985 and the past 40 years was a dream, what would you do differently?
That wasn't me, 'cause that's a good question. That wasn't you and me, but
Right?
that's a good one. I have to noodle
And
over.
memes make me laugh, and sometimes I move on from them. But that one kind of made me sit back and go, "Fuck." 1985, I was 16.
Everything.
I was like, hey, a lot of the women would be a lot more happy. Okay, and then they wouldn't have that convenience store chain named after me. Come and go. So it's just,
Oh, that's in Iowa. By the way.
that's in Iowa.
Those are
That's
only in
right.
Iowa.
That's right.
In case people don't know, that
That's right.
really is the name of a gas
I bet
station.
it
Come
is.
and go.
Come and go.
I remember the first time I saw that at University of Iowa. Now I know every time I
Yeah.
come, I think I can't. I'm going to see his face.
Yeah, Don says regret to feel sorrow or remorse for an act, fault, disappointment, etc. Amen, Kent. That I have a ton of regrets. Hope that regrets leads to being better the next time. Yeah, I agree with that. Right. But yeah, I mean, if you woke up in 1985, you couldn't. But you know what I mean. You go back.
To where he
Go back 30 years, right? And then you wake up, what would you do different? What's the first thing you would do? Like, I'd invest in Apple.
Yeah.
Because they had them back then. There were little green screens. Remember that? Yeah. I'd be like, I'm gonna put all my newspaper money into that.
I mean, it's just going back. I mean, it's the knowledge that you didn't have.
Mhm.
Right back then. We don't have that. So what is it? Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and that's why for me, like I say, I don't regret not doing those things. They shaped me, and you say you regret maybe not loving somebody. as much, right? Or saying goodbye to them,
Yeah.
right? But you didn't know it was going to happen, so you shouldn't regret it. You just, you know, it formed who you are next
No,
time. So
regret.
maybe now,
Regret. Don said is to feel sorrow or remorse for
Yeah.
an act, fault, or disappointment.
So
So yeah, you can still love somebody harder. I don't know when your time is up, right?
Right.
When your expiration date is. It's not on the bottom of your foot, right? But yeah, Uncle Pete.
and the reason
Right.
I don't have any regrets is because I live every day to my fullest and my hardest, and I try to do the best. And if I failed at it, it sucks. But it's not like I was being aloof and not paying attention to these things, right? Or being a good human being. It just happened. I don't regret it. You know, I can say that, yeah, it would have been nice, you know, in that respect that I changed, that it was different, but it wasn't. So I'm not going to regret it. I'm going to take that as a learning experience.
just like 2 weeks ago, we did. Are you holding on to something?
Yeah.
And my answer is going to be extremely similar, which is I don't let it ruin my life. I don't dwell on it all day. But there, just like I said,
Right.
there are times when I want to go text somebody and I realize they're not there anymore. That's when I'll feel the regret. Cool, I can't text them. Should probably texted them more when they were alive.
Ever since that show,
Should have.
I have seen so many sayings like when you think of somebody, wherever they are on the other side, they're having a conversation about you at that point, and it's changed the way I actually feel when like Uncle Pete rolls through my brain, or Rancher Ron, or Joey Glass, or whatever.
Yeah.
The people that have passed. I'm like, well, that's cool.
Yeah. It's more comforting.
Right? Yeah. Sorry.
Well, I mean, when you have things like that happen to you too, I mean, for me, it actually opens my eyes up a little bit more when somebody does.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like, all right, well, hey, life isn't guaranteed. Every day I wake up, it's a good thing. I'm going to step up my game.
But if your eyes are open to how you need to step up, that's you feeling a sense of remorse for not having done more while they were alive. That's what's right.
I don't have necessarily do more thing. I might next time change it. I don't regret any of the decisions I've made. I made those decisions based on the information I had at that point.
Well, I have some regrets. I think
Yeah.
cancers, like we actually know that regret doesn't actually have to mean like a negative thing and fill us up, but shit happens and you have to move on, right? So it's like I have regrets for not saying sorry to a certain friend that I learned passed away a couple of years later. I have regrets by not taking my daughter to the hospital when I probably should have. I have regrets not listening to certain older individuals when they told me that was going to be the wrong thing to do, but I still went, and I'm stubborn. So I went and still did my own thing. But I don't think regrets is like it's a learning lesson. It's trial and error before it's trial and success. So I regret sometimes failing, but you have to fail in order to succeed. So
Scott, I'm picking up that you think regret is a negative thing.
Like hate is a negative.
It's negative. I think it's a mindset, right? Like I don't look at what I've done as bad, right? I just look at the learning curve.
Again, regret is to feel sorrow or remorse for, not to be upset about.
No, I don't feel sad necessarily or remorse of what I did. I did what I did at the time with the knowledge I had and what I've gone through.
Well, I think you're very unique then. I think you're one in the entire world.
You can have regret and be confident in the decisions that you've made at the same time. You can be happy with what you've learned while still regretting. The fact that if you could go back, you would do certain things differently is a sign of at least a little bit of regret.
Yeah.
Because if you, the only time you could say zero regret is if like Ken said, you could go back to 1985 and you're like, yep, cool. I got to remember exactly what I did on that day because I'm not changing a thing.
Right.
Everything exactly the same. That's zero regrets.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who would change something.
Yeah. Oh, I would.
Oh yeah. Oh, Jesus.
I would say this, of course, it's the butterfly effect. I mean, you change one thing, you change it all.
I'm just gonna say,
But
right.
if I could go back and do things differently to end exactly where I'm at today, I'd do that.
But a lot of things you can't change and pick and choose because, just like you said, that thing formed you and started you on the path to where you are now. Right, so you can't regret it. You are who you are now.
No, I can regret it. I can absolutely regret it.
You can, but it doesn't because you're a wonderful human being at this point, right? You were all the shitty things that you've done or good things that formed Kent, right? So,
Yeah.
But you have to have that regret to grow and
Correct.
as a person.
Yeah.
And through struggle, we grow as people. Without pain, without regret, without the negatives in life, we don't learn to grow as people.
Right.
So you have to feel that regret in order to be a good person.
Oh, hold on. I got you muted. There you go.
Probably right.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's more. The mindset is something.
Yeah.
Everything that comes in life is like it's normal. I would change everything and end up somewhere different in life because I've already experienced it.
And then let's be honest.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. First thing I would do is get rid of the fucking mullet I had in 1985.
No,
I'd take that shit off right now.
You really have to, because if I go back to 1985, I'm gonna find you and I'll shave it for you.
I mean, listen, you already did the one round. Do something different.
That's oh my god.
Have you regret?
Mm.
Listen, if you can have regret, that means you're still here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Scott, Don says, Scott, you can experience sadness, sorrow about something and not have it take away any joy for you in the current time. I'm with Scott, Shayna says. Every mess makes you who you are. Don says, but you can be sad about things. And Shayna says, life is contrast for sure. Yeah.
It's an emotion I don't feel that I need to use because I'm moving forward.
It's called natural. It's being natural.
I'm not natural.
I'm
I'm not normal or natural. Haven't you figured that out?
That's right.
You guys to remind me this every week that I'm not normal and natural. So hey, you know what? I love that. I celebrate the fact that I am who I am, and I don't look at it that from standpoint. I get what you guys are saying, but that's not how
listen,
I internalize it.
which is totally cool. But what you're saying more is like, well, you can't have regret.
Right.
Now you're talking about everybody else.
I didn't say you can't have regret.
But totally.
You say you can't have regret. I said I don't have.
What do I get to take?
Let's watch
Yeah.
it again.
No.
You can't regret anything because you can't regret. No regret, should regret. You're talking, if you're going to say that, you're like, well, I can't regret. You're generalizing it during the night.
Yeah. No. You said anyway. We can discuss that. We can watch again. But
This is why.
but the bottom line is, I still think that you think regret is a bad thing.
I don't think it's a bad thing.
I think regret does have a negative connotation.
It does have a negative
I don't
connotation.
think it's a bad thing. I choose not to use that word maybe, and because maybe at some point it did come up as a negative, but I don't regret it. Right? It was something that happened, and it's moved me forward. I mean, I don't know how to explain it any easier for me. You guys look at it differently. That's fine. We all have our own ways of looking at things and understanding things. But for me, I don't, because it has formed me for who I am.
Just Don says, I'd be concerned about you, Scott, if you don't feel any sadness or sorrow for anything you have done in the past. You know, why would that be concerning? And is there such a thing as a gret? Not regret.
Well,
Just
you
a
got
gret.
regret it to regret it.
Right. You got to regret it. Here's what I'll say. I'm willing to step out on this and say that 100% of humans have regret, and they do regret things, because otherwise we would not need psychologists. Correct.
I think regret is something that's normal, that it just happened. You can move past it.
Right. Therapists.
It's not like a switch or a knob. Where
Right.
you turn it down and turn it off.
Therapists wouldn't be needed, because anxiety is, oh my gosh, I'm anxious. I've got anxiety because of something that I did or didn't do in the past, which then would say I regret not doing, or I made the wrong decision or something, or I'm afraid to make a decision because of what's happened in the past. So I would be willing to say that 100% of the human beings on this blue marble have regret. 100%. You may not swim in it, but there would not be any need for a therapist, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, anything, if people didn't have it. That's all that I would say.
I agree.
Yeah. Regrets don't have to steal anything from you today. No, that's Kelsey. Yeah, she's on the phone.
Quiet down.
As much as it pains me, I agree with Kent. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Don. Right. And again, it to Scott's point, it depends on how it's been brought to you, and you don't regret your decisions. Be a man. Go get it, Tiger. Right.
Don't necessarily regret
You know? And others are like, man, yeah, no, I totally regret not being able to say goodbye. I totally regret not being able to, I totally, to Kelsey, yeah.
You ever said anything out of anger?
You have to have.
No, I don't get angry.
You have to
I
have.
have no regrets and I don't get angry.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just take a look at your marriage. I mean, there's a lot of shit that's come flying out of my mouth that I wish I could grab 2 feet out of my face, but nope. Regret that one instantly.
Okay, if we're gonna go
Instantly.
I guess I said a few things that I would like to
Instantly.
take back, but I don't. So in that respect, you're right that I do look at regret really as more of a negative.
Yeah.
Right. But
It's not-
I look at if we're gonna do it at that point there, like I said, I mean,
But-
I guess I do regret some things I have said. If you're going to use it in that
Well,
connotation.
I mean, people think that there's people who think cow manure is gross, and there's others like that's fertilizer, baby. That's black gold.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's fun to step in when it's warm and it sinks through your toes. I'm a kid from Iowa. It was good.
Even in Iowa, that's
Started to come and go.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Just because I lived in the city.
Iowa are like.
No, it's fun.
You're not claiming that.
Especially when it's on a cold day like today. It's kind of steamy.
I
Yeah,
heard that guy's not from Idaho.
it's kind of steamy.
That's
right. That's right. Don says you can't change what happened, Shayna, but regret, sorrow can help you not do it again. If Scott learned from any mistakes, I would say you could call that regret. Is what Don says. Right.
You have to have it to learn from. I like how you put that. You learn from it.
Right.
So you have to have it.
Right.
It's part of it's just part of life, man. You gotta have
Yeah.
It's one of the top 10 feeling emotions, thought processes.
Yeah.
It kind of goes hand in hand with the other side of the spectrum.
Yeah, I don't think you need to swim in it every day.
No.
Right. I don't think it has to paralyze you.
You're living your life in regret. This is where I was getting at. You're living your life in regret.
Yeah.
You're not balancing the scale.
Oh God.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You have to, listen, I regret some things about my brother that I should have probably done maybe differently or tried something differently. Right? But I moved past it, but I learned from it like, hey, listen, there's going to be these decisions in life.
Yeah, it's
No matter what.
nature of what it.
No
right?
matter what, there's going to be shit you got to do.
Mhm.
Right. And so when you hear me say things like, wow, this room smells like regrets, I keep promises and chicken wings. There's been a lot of shit going on in that room. Tragedy, whatever it is.
Right. No, here's
Yeah.
Here's I like what Shanna said. I think she's saying where Scott was digging in his heels is I've never regretted the lesson or the growth.
No. Okay.
Right. And I think that's where you're I think that's where you're at
Probably where I'm at.
is to say maybe at the time I regretted it, but I don't regret the growth that it gave me.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would go with that.
yeah.
I would go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did dig my heels in on that one because
Yeah.
that's the connotation of how it comes across.
Well,
right?
that's what you structure yourself.
Right.
And we see that every time we see it.
Right.
You're like, oh, time to grab that rung of that ladder.
Yeah.
Pull myself up together, whatever's holding my ankle.
Yeah.
I'm still doing it. Right. That's your thing. I think the way you explained it was a little different
Yeah.
from what you
I
actually.
like your choice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I know what you were thinking.
Yeah, and that's what Don is saying is you're focusing on the growth, which is a good thing. It's
Yes.
right. You're not focusing on what that
right.
scar
Try not to
scar
make it
came
over,
from.
right?
Yeah.
That's swimming.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I swim in it, so I get okay.
Yeah.
I'll take that one.
I bet how long did you swim? I've done it for weeks.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Could be.
um,
Maybe even.
And usually it's hindsight, right? So I mean, what brought us out here to Illinois was we started a coffee shop, and then I trusted a business partner I shouldn't have, right? And yeah, Planet Coffee, and for years I sat in regret and depression. I should have done this. I should have done this. I regret not doing this. I regret not doing this. But it wasn't until those years, where I got through it, where I go, man, I really held on to that way too fucking long. So that's where I learned, you roll by a pig farm, and to that family, that's the smell of money, right? That pig farmer doesn't know that he smells like pig shit when he's sitting next to you in the cafe. Yeah, right. Jesus, Fred.
That's his reality,
right? But you're like, woo, mama, but that's the smell of success to him, right? So when I got through that, and I could look back, go, man, I held on to that way too long, and that was a deep wound, right? So I mean, it is what it is, but you learn from it, and you grow from it, you move on. Yeah, absolutely.
If you're gonna have, I guess the big thing too, now, we kind of rephrased it, is if you don't learn from regrets, the things you've done, I think you really get yourself in this service.
Yeah.
And that's where having good conversations like this is so important.
Yeah. And Don's saying what you said 7 minutes ago, Steve. We don't usually grow if we don't make a mistake, feel some regret, then change and grow because of it. So
I regret. I very clear
writing that on that piece of paper.
I have a vivid memory of being in kindergarten and saying something really rude to this girl, say young. I don't remember her name. And we were at recess, and she cried and she ran away. And I remember that to this day. I don't dwell on it. I don't sit there and be like, Steve, you're such a piece of shit. Why do you? But I remember that as a lesson of treating people with respect and kindness.
Yeah.
And I will never forget that. Till the day I die, I'll never forget her reaction to the words that I said to her, and I will never not remember that when interacting with somebody again.
Yeah.
I'll never make that mistake again with another human being because I made it with her, and I do regret it, but I learned from it, and a lot of my life I base off the
Now
lessons
you're
I
just not racist in public.
Yeah. Wow. Allegedly. So
No, you're 100% right. I've done that many times myself, where I'll say something and I'll think back to it now, and I get that that little cringe on myself for saying or being stupid, and then that regret kind of filters back in. But if it didn't do that, it probably did again because that's
right.
We're people of matter.
Yeah. Leo Kincaid, welcome in, says, I respectfully disagree. Maybe it was regret at one time, but once you move past it and learn from it, the regret turns to education. Can't change it, but you don't have to feel regret forever. Right? Yeah.
I, once again, based on definition, I totally get what you're saying. And welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Listen, like I just said too, it's a reminder. You might get a piece of regret for a second again down the line because you remember it and you make that cringe face.
You remember the lesson you learned.
Correct. And then you go, I'm not doing that again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So then you remove your fingers from your nipples and just say,
oh, you step away from that playground and you go home.
Yeah. I'm not supposed to be within 200 feet of a playground anymore. Anyway.
Usually with your wife hand.
That's right. That's right. And it's spelled ISCRE.
It's not ice cream, it's ice cream. It's an ice cream truck.
That's right. That's right. Allegedly, folks. That's not it, police. And ICE, that's not it.
I think it's what you said. It's the balance, right? If you live your life in the regret, then you haven't balanced correctly. Correct. But if you completely forget the regret, you've forgotten the lesson.
That's right.
So it is about balancing. You need to remember how you felt. Yeah. You need to remember the regret to remember the lessons.
And in order to remember the regret, you got to remember what regret feels like. So it just pops back up once in a while.
Two sides of the same coin. Absolutely. And it is about balance. It's about living your life and making the good out of the regret.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, there's a lot of people in orange jumpsuits that live in an 8x8 room that have bars on it that probably live in regret every day.
Mhm.
And they got no choice,
They got no choice because that's a reminder every
They got no
minute of
choice.
what they've done,
right?
right? Because they didn't learn from, maybe they had things before that they didn't learn
I
from.
mean, so we're fortunate to not have to
regret every
live in that regret. But there are people. I got a buddy, right?
Right,
I got a buddy that's doing time right now.
Well, it's your choice
You
every
probably every time you put on them white sneakers without any shoelaces, you're probably like, motherfucker.
Well, it's our choice every morning when we wake up not to let that,
Yeah.
guide our day, right? I mean,
Yeah.
not in a negative way, but it's, you don't want to have it. Just if you, like Steve said, if you learn from it, keep moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. Shana says the saying should you should know better should be revised to you should feel better. Yeah, that's good.
Interesting.
That's really good. Yeah.
No, no better.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Said the man with no hands. Anyway,
You're always under the table.
that's all right.
No
That's
hands and big feet.
Stop
That's
pushing my thigh.
Oh, come on.
That's not my
I'm
thigh.
not- that's not my guy.
Good, that's not my hand.
Yeah. Right. Whoa. I regret that. I'm
Thank you
sorry.
for tuning in.
I immediately regret that. That's good. True that, Shana. True that. Thank God for unanswered prayers. Yeah. Saying I have I have no regrets based on definition means I have not felt sadness or disappointment in anything I've done. Right, exactly, Don. That's why I say a ton. That's why I say, man, there's so much I regret. I mean, I was a dick to a lot of people, growing up. If we go back to '85,
10 minutes
So
ago.
let me-
yeah, I was a
let me
dick
ask
to a
you
lot of
this.
people.
Why do you regret?
Because that's not who I've grown to be.
But that's who you were. So why do you regret that? You didn't
Uh,
know any different back then, not to be that way.
Yeah.
You know now. So here, what you know now, knowledge-wise, tells you that you should have regretted it because you were a dick, but you weren't. You were Kent back then.
no, I was a dick.
But you didn't regret it until now, is what I'm seeing.
No, I probably instantly regretted it. I mean,
Okay, so that's what I'm getting at. So if you didn't know anything,
at my core, I don't know if my core values have ever changed. At my core, the way that I've been raised and the things that I believe in are that. But
you did it for a reason.
but,
so why would you?
yeah, probably because I was insecure with myself or whatever, and I was a dick, right? So I totally regret it, right? And to go back to '85 and do it again, I wouldn't be a dick to those people,
Good answer.
right? I mean, it's simple. So the conversations would be more uplifting. To Shayna's point, feel better, not know better, right? How do I make that person feel better? How do I feel? But that's what this station's all about, right? But yes, that was Kent. But yeah, I can honestly say I don't think my core values have ever changed. My parents raised me a certain way. The things that I believe in are that way. And when I was doing it, probably it's like when you steal candy from the five and dime. It's wrong. You still doing it.
But I'm getting the thing I was getting at is that you said you might have regretted it then, but a lot of times people will look at it and go, I regretted it based on what I know now, not what I knew then.
No, I probably regretted it instantly.
Probably, right?
Yeah.
You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of times we'll go, oh shit, I regret doing that because now I know it really wasn't right, or it could affect people in an awkward.
No, right and wrong didn't turn on for me in my adult stage. I knew right and wrong when I was a kid, right? I knew right and wrong.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's
So
a good parent.
Yeah. I knew right and wrong.
Were you just firing back because people were doing the same to you?
Oh no, I was pretty.
You weren't getting teased, so you teased because someone teased you?
No, I was probably insecure of myself, and that was it.
Well, that's the most common reason. that
Look
we
at the
do
depth of it, but yeah,
Your liking the person.
But it,
Everybody goes through a sticky period of life where they catch those browse of anything that they see or they try to.
Right. Hey, I got a buddy, Lewis Clegg, who broke my nose because I said something about his girlfriend. I instantly regretted that.
You felt the pain right away. You felt that pain, right?
Hey.
It woke you up. You got
Hey, just
school
you know.
on that you shouldn't have said.
And by the
that.
way, Lewis, thanks for your service. That man is down. He's a border patrol guy. He's an incredible man.
That pain
Incredible
made you regret it because you
Yeah.
realized it was
Actually,
stupid.
I thought marriage.
Yeah.
Because that's part of me as well. When I travel my yin yang journey line, that line in between, I just put my arms out, try to scoop up both between white and black.
I don't think you can say it's racist.
I can.
Oh my God.
He owns the station.
You should
Do
regret
whatever
that.
the heck he
You should regret that immediately.
Right. The bots are coming in now.
But I think that if you travel that journey line, it's about what side. If you're trying to lean way too hard on the
Yeah.
positive side, you're not going to learn as much as you can if you balance it out. But that's also part of it. You
Hmm.
got to be proud of it.
Oh yeah.
Period. Those regrets and everything else, just take that. That's yours. You own it.
Good bad.
Man.
Absolutely. So you can move past, but I love, what Steve said. If it flashes back to you, because there's a memory to that.
Yeah.
Man, that regret feels again, but you remember it, and you remember how to try to be better.
Yeah.
You just want to be the best you possibly.
Yeah. That's what.
And in order to do that, you have to have all these things.
Yeah, I think that's what Scott's saying too. Is just take it as fertilizer, man. It helps you grow.
Yeah.
It helps you become who you are, but don't carry it with you for let it out of the bag. Yeah. What do we got next week, Kelsey? What do we got next week? What is the topic for next week? Let's set the hook for these people. I don't know anything.
I think Kelsey just.
Yeah. No, she there. She's
Kelsey.
hello,
Fell
Kelsey.
asleep.
Kelsey, anyone? She's
I think she fell asleep.
she's muted right now, so
Oh.
that's all right. All right, we'll figure it out. But listen, we got to. Oh, there she is.
It should be Santa Claus.
Santa Claus. We're going to try to get Santa in here. If
Yeah,
not,
trying to get.
I got nothing for that. I'm already working on it.
If not, Steve, we gotta wear our ugly Christmas sweaters. Gotta see who wins.
ugly,
Do ugly sweaters.
ugly sweaters. Fair enough. We'll do ugly Christmas sweaters. We'll try to get a midget in here.
We got on the calendar. We got education for midgets.
I feel like we should all bring in some sort of obstacle with the elf on the shelf. Have you guys seen the really funny ones going on TikTok and YouTube? The trends.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Some of them are good.
Put a Barbie doll in a stand mixer and turn it on with the elf with a bunch
Yeah.
of dollars in front of it.
With the dollar bills, yeah, it says like when a dad does the elf.
Run like this, and the elf is just has a dollar. I was like, that's the best.
That is good stuff.
All this downtime, you guys watch TikTok and all this shit. I just don't get.
I'm doing elf on it.
Yeah, it's called education, Scott. It's called education, Scott. You learn how to have connect and you grow with people.
That's it. Education. Hey, I regret to say this, but the show is over, so we got to get out of here.
Have a good day.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys.
All right. Listen, come back at about 5:30. Watch for the notification. Tonight we've got Veterans Path to Hope coming in. They're going to be doing a tournament, a Madden tournament, live streaming. It's going to be pretty cool. And this is all for veterans by veterans. So don't skip by. If you got nothing going on, which most of you don't, check in and show some support.
Otherwise, you'll regret it.
You will regret it. Promise here at 216, and a shout out to our good friends over at Minuteman Press, Crystal Lake.
Minuteman Press, they design, print, and promote you for all your printing needs. Your business has never looked better than Crystal Lake.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. Go ahead, like, share, subscribe. We got tons of other great shows that look at 216.net. Here at 216.net, and most of the grounds is here at Daily Dose of Encouragement. 216 Creator Studios.
He is like he's back in 2018.
I was back at production at 216.net. But hey, guys, go out there, be the change you want to be in the world. Thank you so much for subscribing. We love you. Have a great week.